not.
We would have had to do that. Okay, we're live.
Okay.
Let me just hit the go live over here. Okay, come on. Oh my goodness. Bear with me, folks.
That's okay. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you guys today.
We are live. I'm just trying to get us live over on Instagram. So give me.
I'm here from Michigan, outside of Detroit.
Nice. How is the weather there?
Actually, really, really beautiful. It's been so beautiful. Like 50s in the morning, upper 60s, like peak of the day, 70s. Like it's been really sunny and beautiful. Everything's green again.
Awesome.
You guys don't have that problem in California?
No. So we're coming live from California as well. So I'm in Southern California, and it's actually finally getting warm. We've had some really cold weather for us. So I'm excited that we're coming into summer. My son actually just came back from surfing. So I'm like, yay, we get to, it's back to that time. So anyway, I am so excited, everyone, to introduce you to Vanessa Joy. She is a new friend of mine who I absolutely adore and have already started learning so much from. And I asked her if she would come on and talk about this thing called peptides. And so from my understanding, Vanessa, this is something you've known about for a bit of time here. And so I want to ask you, what drew you to peptides and why are you so passionate about it? Because when I met you, I could feel like just talking to you how excited you are.
Yes, for sure. So I found peptides a little over 10 years ago. But before they were like super cool and this big thing everyone's talking about. But it wasn't until I hit perimenopause where I was so tired. My body was in pain, bloated, and I was just so inflamed. I was just not recognizing myself. I think it wasn't until then that I realized like how powerful they really are, because I've always been a super healthy person. So I've studied holistic and natural health. Gosh, for like, I'm like, I always do the math by my oldest, and my oldest is actually graduating on Monday and Tuesday. And so he's 18. So I'm like, okay, 19 years, almost 20 years I've been studying.
Everything's by our kids.
It is. It really is. And so it wasn't until after the fourth baby, I feel like perimenopause came in like a Mack truck. And when I then, went to my doctor and started being introduced and really needing the peptides, combined with my holistic practices, that's when I was like, wow, these peptides really, gave me a path to work with my body instead of like punishing it. Cause I was like, doing all of those HIIT workouts, running, pushing, grinding. And actually when we hit perimenopause, it's that time to actually make a shift into more nurturing, more calming, more grounding things like walking. Weight training's great, but not combined with all of that hard impact on the body. So yeah,
that's so. I hope you all heard what she just said, because that is so powerful. And for me, that was one of the biggest lessons I had to learn, because I grew up in the era of the whole aerobics and, get your cardio and get your heart rate up. And, you got to work out for at least 60 minutes or don't even bother and do it 5-6 days a week. And they really didn't talk that much about weight training, because that was more for bodybuilders. Like in my mind, I would think of like really muscular people. So to hear you say that, because that has been such a huge mind shift that I had to make in as I've gotten into this midlife and past menopause stage. So thank you for like bringing that up. Listen to that, guys. It's super, super important.
So important.
So how did you find out about peptides? Because I feel like I was under a rock. I literally just found out in this past, 6 months or so, and you're 10 years into it. I'm like, where have I been?
Yes. Well, yeah. So it's interesting. These peptides have been around for over 20 years. in the holistic community, biohacking communities, and in the weight training, bodybuilding communities. So they've been around a while. And actually, did you know that GLP-1, like the base discovery of it, was actually discovered in like something like 1920 when they discovered insulin? Like that was like root discovery that kind of has taken this long to like, well, not really, in the 80s, we were introduced to these in those communities. So it wasn't until, like I said, I hit that perimenopause where I really needed something to like help my body connect all the dots, because I was doing all of those beautiful things. But it was through a naturopathic telemedicine doctor, but I was paying like an arm and a leg. Like I can't even say how much I was paying for like a year. So this telehealth, service that we have is really unique, because I was paying a year subscription, which was like $3,000. Did you hear me?
Wow.
Like and then
just having the service, right? That doesn't even include
just the service. And then my peptides were anywhere from like $500 to $1,200 per peptide. I mean, my Sermorelin was back then was $1,200 a month.
Oh
so
my God.
I know. So, and the shipping.
That's why I've never heard of this.
And the injection supplies. So that's the beauty of LEMD. That's what we're bringing, is like this all-inclusive, all-in-one, still very personal, very connected, compounded just for you, not for the masses. And just this really unique community as well, because we also have, our Thursday nights, we have the Facebook group, we have all of these little paths that I didn't have when I started. So it was kind of like, it was a hit or miss. And my doctor was just kind of like throwing things. I learned so much through that. So we started with Sermorelin and worked our way through every system with all the different peptides to really bring my body back to homeostasis.
Wow, that's amazing. I love too that you brought up the community, because that's one thing that I think is really missing. People go on some of these different peptides and doctors don't seem to know all that much about them, and not that many regular doctors. I mean, the peptides as a whole know. GLP-1s they're starting to recommend, but they don't even understand a lot of it. So our communities that we have access to, the trainings and the people and all of that, really make it quite unique and amazing from other things.
For sure.
So,
because women need like someone to partner with them. This whole thing is like so overwhelming, and we're already like either in the midst of like full on parenting or coming out of that stage, and our body's changing and our hormones aren't there. Like we don't have that. The progesterone and the testosterone is like plummeted, right. Or you're like struggling with the estrogen. And those are things that really bring peace and regulation that in our 30s, like help us to get through the child rearing stage. And then when you remove those hormones, and then have all of these other things going on in the body, it's complicated. So, I really love how we have this model, because I have a unique ability to like connect with so many women that are in my life and really walk through their health journey out of this place. And I didn't have that. So I just love I love the community aspect. I love it.
Well, I know that was like the first thing when we met. I was like, okay, now tell me what the difference is between this and how does this work?
Yes, and so I love it all.
Well, so I want you to help clarify something. So GLP-1s are everywhere, and I think people understand, they're hearing it everywhere. But then you hear peptides. And so there's been confusion about what is a GLP, what is a peptide? Are the same thing? Like, can you bring some light to that for us?
Yes, I just did a post yesterday on it, and it was on purpose. Like, what's the difference between GLP-1 and a peptide? Well, it's kind of a trick question, right? Because it's a trick question because GLP-1s are peptides. And so they're branched chain amino acids. But I think because they're so like the GLP-1 is the one that big pharma has come in and gotten involved in and made very aware, a lot of money, come package it, bring it to everybody. But again, these have been around for a very long time. So my first peptide wasn't GLP-1. Mine was actually sermorelin and BPC. And so it's quite interesting that the way that a lot of people, for example, you are discovering this is through the GLP-1 first. So I feel like right off the bat, some people are like, whoa, I've heard bad things about that, because it hasn't exactly been done properly. But, these are all branched chain amino acids and they target different areas of the body. The GLP-1 just happens to produce the gut gastric juices, or stimulate the gastric juices in the gut and help with cravings. And I think when you can get that blood sugar and the cravings and the food noise under control, then that's where you're seeing a lot of that inflammation. Even with the dementia, they've just passed that they're now insuring it for dementia. So they're just finding that. No, you didn't know that. Yes.
I knew there was research with dementia and Alzheimer's, and they were seeing good things, but I hadn't heard that it had actually, that's freaking amazing.
It's amazing. And I was just talking to someone this morning, and the brain center for because we are controlling the cravings. So also for mental health and addiction, they're seeing great results with that. I mean,
that is, oh my God. Yeah. I read something about that. And I like that. Oh my God. Cause there's so much addiction happening right now. And especially of a lot of young people with the stuff that's been, the fen and all that's been coming over. So to have that is, I hope I'm going to probably say this a few times during the show, but I hope you all heard that. GLP-1 is a peptide. It is not what you have been led to believe. And, sometimes when big pharma gets involved in things, it may not always be what it is. I'm trying to say it as nicely as I can say it.
Yes, I know. Let's be political here. Yeah.
Right.
It switched into something else. Yeah.
Right. And that's the unfortunate part, because these peptides, I mean, every time I've been studying them and learning, and I'm blown away, which kind of brings me to my next question. You've talked about peptide pathway. Can you talk a little more about what that means?
Yeah, for sure. So I commonly, I think from my journey, because I was doing so many holistic things, that I was just surprised that it wasn't those things weren't working. I mean, again, I studied holistic health for almost 20 years. I was wheatgrass juicing, raw vegan. I mean, I've been using natural deodorant before it was cool to use natural deodorant. Okay. 20 years. So I wasn't getting any of the xenoestrogens from products, because I was only using literally olive oils and, coconut oil on my skin, just so with essential oils. I've been doing these things for so long. So it was very confusing for me when I hit perimenopause. So when I introduced the peptides, it was it cleared a pathway for me. So it helped my systems to communicate. So when I say that, for me personally, that's what I'm talking about. But I think if you look at the peptides that we have to offer, you start with regulating your blood sugar, right? So that's a great way to start. That's that big lever, and you get that under control, and you get your inflammation under control. You regulate your insulin, and then you can introduce other peptides that we have. Then it's okay to bring in NAD to bring that focus. And actually, sorry, not to take a rabbit trail, but I was thinking when you were talking, in that last question about the addiction, Justin Bieber, they actually used NAD in his recovery treatment. So Hailey Bieber and Justin Bieber were, yes. So, I mean, these peptides are so powerful, and, they're really a game changer for, women whose metabolism suddenly hit a wall, kind of like I said, like a Mack truck hit me. But then you bring in something like GHKCU and you help your body to repair and restore and build collagen. You're supporting hormone production with the sermorelin, the visceral fat, because that one's stimulating your human growth hormone production. It isn't. Now, I want to be clear too, because I think people get confused because you're injecting something and then we say bodybuilding and people are like, hold on. Okay, now see, this is for, like, it is connected to the GLP-1 and the weight loss, but they are stimulating the body's own production of them, because you're clearing the pathways so that whatever is blocking or whatever is off, and not like blocking that communication from point A to point B. It's like, just from a cellular level, it's bringing so much healing and restoration. And that's why you start with that big lever, and then you start to add these other peptides to really bring like a deeper level of health and homeostasis. And does that answer your question good enough?
It does. And it just brought up another kind of point that you talked about. And that is how these peptides work. Because I often get the question, well, is it natural? It's not natural. And I'm never quite sure like how to articulate it best, but listening to what you just talked about, it's already what you have in your body, and it's just getting what you have in your body to get moving. So it is a natural, like, hey, let's get going. We need more of these peptides. So it's kind of pushing it. So I think people get it confused with, like, you're putting in, pharma's Band-Aid and it's synthetic, but all it's doing is doing a Band-Aid on you. It's not regenerating cells. It's not creating more, So I think that's
stimulating production of those things. Like the BPC is actually the only peptide that actually converts the cell back over to a brown blood cell, like at your original birth state. So if you're into like stem cell research, like this is based off, peptides are kind of connected to that same science of regeneration, stem cell. So it's really interesting. And I mean, I'm just going to say also, I also don't talk about this often, but so I'm super holistic. I didn't vaccinate my children. So I've always been very protective over what I put in my body, which is why it is very important. I will say, if you are looking at peptides and you're looking online, do not buy anything that isn't made in a compound pharmacy. Don't buy something that you have to reconstitute. You're not a doctor. You're not a pharmacist. You don't know what you're doing. It's dangerous and it needs to be done properly, and you don't know where it's coming from. So that said, all of ours is triple strained, like triple filtered. It's made here in the US. It's very safe and clean. So that's where I'm like, okay, this I will put into my body, because it is holistic. Like I said, they've been using this in the holistic communities for over 20 years. So
yeah, that's where my holistic doctor or homeopathic doctor is the one that recommended the GLP-1. I'm glad you went into the safety, because I just was asked that question again last night by someone, like, how do I know that these are safe? And, I kind of went through the different things with her, but it is really important, because there are a lot of companies popping, especially for the GLP-1. There's a lot of companies popping up out there, and you've got to be super careful.
I know we want to save a buck. I do. But I promise you, you're not spending what I spent at first, right? That's why I had to partner with LEMD, because I knew that this was, I've had a health, like I said, I've been teaching for a long time, the health and wellness, Hippocrates health protocol. And there were women coming to me like, what are you doing? And I would refer them to my doctor, and they're just like, I can't afford that. Like, I just can't. I was very blessed to be able to have an experience like that. So I'm shouting LEMD from the rooftops because of the transformation and just the amazing elements of this company and where it's going. I mean, we just got this face care, which I cannot I cannot believe I've been using it for 2 weeks. And I'm like, now I've been like doing this peptides on the inside and like healing from the inside out. And now we've got this amazing peptide GHKCU, the NADs in there, the vitamin C's in there. And then we've got our own technology that actually goes and penetrates deep in. So it's not even like all of my natural oils and stuff. I have like my little beauty area over there.
Your potions
and all of my potions, yes. But this really like penetrates down, and I could like see the under. I mean, I'm 46 years old. You know,
I actually noticed that. I wondered if you had the skincare, because I haven't ordered. I haven't received it yet, but I can see it already in your. Same thing with Beth and Blair. You're starting to notice it.
Like a glow, right? Because we've been doing this peptide path. So it's almost like you're clearing the way, and I'm like on this little path, and I'm like grabbing at the NAD, and I'm grabbing at, the GHKCU, and I'm injecting all of these things and healing and repairing. And then there, Hani's there with the next little thing hanging for me to grab and try. And it's like, now I've got this external glow putting these peptides on the outside. I'm like so excited. I'm so excited for it.
So can you just maybe take one step back and just talk about what this is?
Yes, sorry.
Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm equally excited.
Yes, I know. I'm so excited. So so we have this new skincare. And like I said, we've been injecting these peptides internally. And now with LEMD, this GHKCU, which is the peptide that is really healing. If you combine it with BPC, it's like wound healing. I hurt my knee. I've been like weight training a lot and trying to build and put on some muscle. And so I hurt my knee because I have really long legs, and I was doing the leg curl things, and I strained I'm still older. That's okay. And I strained all the muscles around my knee, and sure enough, I like mixed the GHKCU with the BPC and injected it right into that area. And within 2 days, it was like all new. Like I said, it's like restoring and healing on a cellular level. So, and that GHKCU is a copper peptide. And so that copper helps to your body to produce collagen. So instead of drinking it and like flushing half of it down the toilet, because it just goes through your digestive system, and instead of putting it on the external and not having that same response, you're like mixing it with our exosomes. It's also mixed with that technology, the Eleva Tech, which helps, it is what penetrates it down into the skin. So it's not just an external thing like that first layer or two of skin. So it's like going deep. So you're getting this internally, you're getting it externally, and it's total synergy. It's amazing.
Wow. I just got all excited all over again. I cannot wait to get it. And folks, it's just a serum that gets applied. You can mix it to your moisturizer and apply. And when you see the price point, you're going to be shocked. I kind of had to take a double take at it and go, really? Like, I kind of was like, wow. And then when I started learning everything that was in it, it's pharmaceutical grade, and it brings in so many different things. I know some people have talked about they've been able to get rid of 4 or 5 different things out of their regimen because of this one thing that we have.
Yeah, think about it. I'm like looking over at all the little things that I have. I'm like, wow, now I only need this, and my oil, because I'll never get rid of like all my oils. I love my oils. But I mean, if you're using vitamin C, whatever serum, and then your moisturizer and your eye cream, like you kind of start here at the forehead and you work your way down around the eyes. And then, bring it back down to the other areas of the face, and it actually can help reduce the dark skin spots. So I had 4 babies, and with each baby, a new area of melasma came. And so it's been like my nemesis, like fighting this
ring, right?
Oh my gosh. So I'm really excited for that, to see how that's going to work. And so it also has the ingredient, what is the oil? this spilanthol that is actually like nature's Botox. It's like a natural Botox. And I was like, oh, I've heard this natural GLP-1, but this one actually does work. And I think that's why I did some before and after, like I'm doing them every week. And I'm seeing that the area underneath of my eyes is like really relaxing and like poofing up. Because, you know, with age, you get that, like, you're like sinking, you're losing the collagen, but you're putting that on the GHKCU and it's like producing and plumping, like my face is plumping up.
I love it. I always say chin. I need some plumping in my chin.
Yeah.
I used to do Botox for migraines, and I always teased like I had the youngest forehead ever because they would do so many there, but I could never get them to do it past that.
Area.
Yeah, it wasn't fun having all those needles put in my head either. So this is a much better way to get that effect.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Let me ask you, you're a mom of 4. And so my audience is a mixture of, women that maybe have children still in the home. And then those that are, kind of past that point and have adult children and grandchildren and all of that. We're all busy, I guess, is my point. And it can be a little overwhelming with all these peptides and trying to figure out, every week there's something different to biohack your health. How do you step into it and kind of make sense of it, and especially in this peptide world?
Yeah, that's really good because I have a tendency I'm very driven, especially when it comes to health and fitness and like doing things for my body and for longevity. I would grind, like I was doing those HIIT workouts, and I was like raising the cortisol so high. And it was like the worst thing I could have done is like go and raise the cortisol. So I have that personality and I don't have time for extremes. Okay. Like I don't have time. I don't have time for this. And either do most women, most busy moms or whatever lifestyle, we just live a busy lifestyle. So, but peptides are really powerful because they work in harmony with your body, with your biology. And I'm not trying to like hack my way through burnout. I'm not trying to like beat myself to a pulp. I've been there, done that. I'm in a more nourishing stage now. I'm trying to support my body so that it can bounce back. So I think when I feel good in my skin again, I show up better. I show up better in every area of my life, for my kids, for my family, in business, everything, all of it. I'm actually like I keep saying I feel better than I did in my 20s. I look better. I'm like glowing from the inside out. I feel so strong mentally. It's like, and just start with one thing. Like I said, just pull that big lever first, get your insulin and your blood sugar under control. Don't get overwhelmed with all of this because it can be overwhelming. And then what happens is we get that paralysis of analysis, right? And so we just don't do anything. So start with one thing and then plug into our community, plug into our group, our Facebook group, watch the power of peptides, watch our Thursday night educational, and just start educating yourself. We will walk you through this path. It's really incredible. So
I think you hit on something that honestly, Vanessa, I never even thought about. And now as I look at when I think about my own health journey right now, is the word nourish. We spend so much time as moms, as wives, as women, nourishing everybody else.
Yes.
And we just think about stopping and taking care of ourselves. We're the hardest. We talk the meanest to ourselves. We put the most pressure on ourselves, like all of these things. But if you just stop and nourish your body, because that's what these peptides are. It's like the first time that I'm spending money on me. And I'm not worried, because I do get that a lot. Well, God, the money. And I'm like, it's to, like you said, it's to nourish your body, to be as strong and healthy. We're all growing old, but how do you want it to look?
Exactly. You're going to invest in something. You're going to invest in something. And I think Claire says it all the time. That she would sell all of her bags, like all of her designer bags, all of her, just to get her peptides because she feels so much better. I'm like, it's so true. I would literally sell all of the things that I could to go buy my peptides because I feel so much better. And I remember it's a hopeless place to be when you've tried so many things. And so, yeah, it's like, oh, well, this is so much, this is new, I'm not familiar with this. And you just don't do anything because you're nervous that like, I'm going to do another thing that's not going to work. And I was just talking to someone the other day, and I'm like, just trust me. Just trust me. Give it all one more shot. Like apply all of the things you've been doing. And with the peptides, it's like clearing that pathway through your body for your cells to communicate in a proper way. And you're going to see and feel so much better. So
it's great. It's crazy. It's magical is what it is.
It is.
Was that woman that it has spent the last couple of years trying to get weight that I had put on, weighing more than I weighed with both my pregnancies. And I could not, nothing I was doing. And it wasn't because I was eating too much. I was working out, I was all the things, and nothing was. And then I deal with a lot of brain issues because of the migraines. And so I've had some memory challenges. And so getting on the NAD, it's like completely changed, my focus, my clarity. I actually had my NAD today. I was like, yoo-hoo, NAD day.
I know. And so here's the cool thing too, is that these peptides, like what you just said, like the NAD may do that for you. For me, I feel like my skin, my skin looks different. Like the little dark skin spots or crepey skin kind of like tightens up. So they manifest differently in everyone's bodies. And so that's what's so unique. It's not a one size fits all. We're all woven differently. So mixing and trying some of these different peptides together, really it's kind of like a cool science experiment, and I love it. I love every ounce of it.
Me too. I think it's really fun. My son laughs at me. He's like, I'm the mad scientist over here.
Yes.
Getting my shots
with your needles and your alcohol swabs. I know. I love it.
I know. I never thought that would be me. Well, we're ending towards the end of our time together, and I swear I could talk to you for about another 5 hours here.
I feel the same way. I love you so much. You're awesome.
I know, so many questions, but I want just one last send off. Okay. If you can, this is definitely an audience of midlife women who are, experiencing different health issues. A lot of friends that are very active. What do you want them to know? What do you want to leave them with?
Okay, this is good.
Good question.
I'm like, what do I want to leave you with? I mean,
you've left us with a lot, so
you're awesome. But I was in such, like I kind of mentioned a little bit, I was in such a hopeless place because I shouldn't have been where I was, because I've been so healthy and diligent about stewarding my body. So if you're someone that is feeling like a stranger in your own body, it doesn't mean that you're failing. Okay. It's okay to need support. It's okay to need a tool. You are not broken. You're overwhelmed. You're under supported. Okay. Peptides are not just a trend. They're not overwhelming. They're a tool. And when you use them intentionally alongside of all the other things, give it one more shot. Give it one more shot and pull all of these things together holistically, right? They will help you feel good in your skin again. And that changes everything. So yay. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Vanessa, for joining us. Thank everyone who has watched this live or is going to be watching the replay. Oh my goodness, so much gold here. You'll need to watch it a few times.
Yeah.
So thank you and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you so much, Sandy. Cute dogs.
Yeah, of course, right at the end.
They're applauding us. Thank you, guys. Bye, Sandy. Okay.